I'm your host, Anita Neal, and welcome to UF IFAS Extension. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about family nutrition, and maybe you have had questions of your own, like, am I eating the right foods? What are the right foods? Are carbonated beverages as bad as they say? Or what really are the good foods that my children should be eating to help them get strong and healthy and make it through that school day? So here to help us today, we have two folks that are very well blessed in nutrition and know everything that they can tell us, and we will all be enriched as well as our foods are. And we have Karla Lenfesty, our Family Consumer Science Agent from St. Lucie County Extension.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
And we also have Lynette Abney from Extension also, and she's our Family Nutrition Program Assistant. So the two of you are here, and thank you very much for joining us.
Happy to.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
Good, good. Well, Karla, tell me, you provide the Family Nutrition Program to schools in our county. Tell me a little bit about this program.
Well, Anita, the Family Nutrition Program is the University of Florida, the county extension part of a partnership between the USDA, Food and Nutrition Services, and the University of Florida, IFAS Extension, and the county offices. And we take this program and we go into the schools, and we've targeted kindergarten through second graders, and we've been at some of the schools for about our 4th and 5th years at some of them. And we try to bring them programming about healthy eating. We go into the classroom once a month and we visit them, and Lynette presents a program that would be based on healthy eating, making good food choices, balancing exercise and food, and even things like smart shopping, that type of thing. So they get an idea of a groundwork of where to start. We've had some great successes and examples. We've had, for example, Lynette starts out the year with a book she'll probably show you called the 2-Bite Club, and the kids are encouraged to take samples. And we hear kids coming back to class and say, well, I took 2 bites, I sampled this at dinner, I didn't sample that. And we've had reports from the cafeteria managers and the principals having the kids ask for vegetables and fruit in the cafeteria line in place of other things.
Wow, that's a great thing.
And moms stopping us in the supermarkets saying, look at my basket, look at my basket. That's because the kids are learning about nutrition. Wow. So there's been some really great success stories that we've had, and we see the kids as they grow through those 3 years, they're making some good choices. We always tell them there are no bad choices. There's just some healthy choices and alternatives.
More healthier choices.
Healthy choices,
okay.
And there's always room for everything, but try to stick to the healthy choices.
Well, that's great. Well, that's real, and it's good to see that with children, because sometimes you don't see. You do educational programming, you may not see those responses, but you guys are getting them really quickly.
Yes, and what's nice about being in the same place for more than a couple of years, for their 3 years of their early development, is that we do actually able to observe some behavior changes in the kids, that they are making changes themselves.
Good, excellent. Well, Lynette, I know that you're the one that goes into the schools and stuff, so kind of walk us through a little bit of that lesson that you would be giving the children. How does it start out?
Well, I come into the classroom and they're all excited to see me.
And you have on
I have on an apron.
Okay.
My apron. It has fruits and vegetables on the pocket, and they always recognize me when I go in, and they're glad to see me, and they're anxious for me to get started and do my lesson. But I usually start out with, I review the previous lesson, kind of go over what they remembered since the last time I was there. And then I start on the new lesson, and we cover all the 5 food groups. We talk about hand washing and germs. We go into energy in, how much are they taking in food, but what do we have to do to work off that food that we have taken in, so we have a balance there. We talk about what they need to do just to stay healthy, and nutrition in general. And then I have a book that goes along with that food group, and they love the storytelling. They are just so intent in listening to it, and they love the stories. Other than that, like the first time we did was an overall of the 5 food groups. So this is the book I started out with, the 2-Bite Club. And again, like Karla said, it just encourages them to just try a couple bites of each food.
Because one time when you just take one bite, sometimes you go,
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And you might not like it the first time, but the second time, third, fourth time, you tend to start liking it. So we encourage them just to at least try a little bit, and you never know, like it says in the book, Anna always says, I liked it.
Yeah.
You know, she likes it. So, and they come back, like Karla said, with the stories and say, oh, I tried this and I tried that. And they're all excited to tell us. And they're excited that they're trying new things. And then after we do the lesson, we try to do some type of fun activity where we interact more with the kids. It might be a physical activity where we're, you know, here's one that we do, you know, where we have dice. And the kids love this, and they throw one, you know, okay, we're going to do a push-up, or we might do a toe touch or arm circles, and then they, you know, throw the second one, and that's how many they have to do. Oh. And they're so excited about this one. Each one is, let me do it, let me do it. Yeah. But it gets them active a little bit in the classroom, and or else we might just do something where they have cards. You know, we might have cards, you know, of different food, from different food groups. And we might have bags up there that has the food groups listed on them. And we'll say, okay, now go put this in the correct bag of the food group. And we might make a little game out of it, too. We might have teams. But they love to be active like that and interact. And I love interacting with them and what they've actually learned for that day.
So you're kind of reinforcing a little bit of what you talked about in the first part with an activity.
Yeah, reinforcing the classroom and trying to get it to stick. You know, so they remember, like you said, when they're going shopping with mom or when they're in the cafeteria line, you know, that can be there. And then lastly, we leave a packet with the teachers, one for each student. And again, it's about the lesson that we did that month, reinforcing it. And she can work through that packet throughout the month with the children. Great. Yeah. Great.
So that's another reinforcement. And it's also something, do they take it home to the parents?
They can take it home. Usually the teacher works sort of in the classroom with them, and it, you know, it's not all about food in the packets. It might work with math, it might work with spelling also, so they're getting other aspects of education that way. But then, you know, they do get to take it home, and they can share it with their family.
That's the part I was thinking, because I know when we first started talking, we call it family nutrition, and I knew it was kind of like you work with the children, but it eventually gets back to the family.
Yes.
And we all know how children work really well with our families, because I know my children said, Mom, you're supposed to turn the water off when you're brushing your teeth. So, you know, they learn those things in school and come home and tell us and remind us that we're doing things wrong, of course. They like to point that out, you know. So, yeah.
They're a big influence on their family's choice, especially when it comes to food and shopping, that type of thing. So they share what they've learned at school. And as I said this, you know, we're trying to target the schools that are part of the families that are part of the supplemental nutrition programs, so that they learn to make smart choices as well within budgets and that type of thing.
Good. Yeah, that's always important to keep in mind, is that budget thing. Yeah. Oh, really good. That's great. Well, Karla, I see you have lots of little goodies in front of you there. What are some of those?
Well, one thing that we try to talk about, and one of the biggest things, the messages of the new My Plate, which replaced the pyramid, and you can see Lynette has a little sampling there of the My Plate, is that, you know, try to avoid oversized portions. It's okay to eat whatever you're going to eat, but do it in moderation, and monitor your portion sizes. And there's a big difference between serving sizes and portion sizes. Portion is the size that you choose to take. You know, you might take a whole plate of mashed potatoes. That's your portion. But, you know, 1/2 of a potato might be a serving. So you're getting multiple servings. So when you're, you know, so many servings make half your plate, fruits and vegetables, that type of thing.
So in other words, we don't have to clean our plate.
We don't have to clean our plate. No, there's some really great hints about that, too. So, again, it's all with balancing the amount of calories you take in with the amount of exercise you have to maintain a healthy weight and to avoid certain, you know, chronic diseases as well. So my little kit that I like to take in that helps make that connection is about serving sizes. So here we have a pancake, or you could say a serving of bread, something like that.
I see.
Here's a typical size of a pancake. Well, you think of that is about the size of a DVD, something like that.
Okay.
And a serving of fruit, you know, cut up fruit or something, is about the size. Well, this would be a full size. This is about a cup of, say, vegetables would be about a cup like this. But a tennis ball, this is a baseball, tennis ball would be about a serving of fruit. A light bulb, that's about a serving of vegetables. So you think of the size of a light bulb. A deck of cards, meat, The 3 ounces is the recommended serving portion of meat, or serving of meat. So you think of a deck of cards like that. So if you're getting a steak, you're going to have a steak or something that big,
Right.
or a giant hamburger, you're actually getting the calories of multiple servings.
I see.
So that's the portion you're choosing, but it's many servings. So you have to double or triple the amount of calories that you're getting in that. And here is one of our all-time favorites. This is a serving of butter the size of a die.
Now,
You see that?
some people might use the dice that Lynette showed us earlier
Yeah.
for their butter.
That's right.
And they might justify it that way.
That's
yes,
right, yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So, but this gives you an idea, a visual representation. So some people learn by reading a piece of paper,
Sure.
some people, but this gives you a visual representation. And here we go, this is a 3/4 of an ounce of cheese, the size of 2 dominoes.
Very cool.
So
Very
that's
cool.
kind of handy to have.
Well, and that brings up a good point, because I know my daughters have asked me, they're drinking something or they're eating something like a bag of chips. And the bag of chips, they go, well, Mom, it's only got, like, say, 97 calories. And I said, okay, how many servings?
Right.
Because sometimes it'll have 2 or 3
Well,
servings
here's-
in that
Yeah, we're going
container.
to get to servings in a little bit, but here's just an example. If you had this glass full of, say, something healthy, milk, and then you chose this size, well, actually, you're going to be getting 2 servings. Yes, you may, that may meet your daily requirement, but still, the choice is making the choice to make it balanced.
Great. Well, that's a really good point. Portion size is really important. And, many times when we go to a friend's house or a relative's or even a restaurant, they give you obviously more than a lot what you've shown us right there. So, and of course, I guess it depends on what you're looking at. It's better to have maybe more of the fruits and vegetables than it is maybe of other
Trying to
things.
make, they encourage trying to make half your plate fruits and vegetables every time. But another little thing that you can think about too is if you're going out to eat, you can order the smaller size as instead of the jumbo super size.
Yeah.
Or you might share a meal with somebody else if you are getting the super size, maybe to save money, or something like that. If you're going that route, or they give you a lot at a restaurant, they give you a plate now and they give you a portion of food like that.
take
Well,
some
maybe
home.
you want to take some of it home. That's
Yeah,
right.
for a meal later,
And
right.
at home, some nifty little hints are to reduce. You don't have to use that big dinner plate that you're using for Thanksgiving for your lunch or your breakfast, that type of thing. You can use a smaller plate, and you can put, what is the right servings that you should have.
Yeah, I went there with my daughter, and she has a smaller plate now, but then she just piles the potato chips up. So I didn't remind her about that, but that's a good point. Well, Lynette, I see, since we're talking about plates, I see you have a plate there in front of you.
That's right.
Tell us a little bit about that one.
This is called My Plate, and like Karla had mentioned, My Plate is replacing, or has replaced, My Pyramid in 2011. And this is what I use. It goes with me everywhere I go when I do my lessons. It's user-friendly, where the pyramid was more, it was the triangle with the lines down, and it was hard at first glance to, like, what am I supposed to eat and how much? So this is like user-friendly, and it tells us, like, how much of what food group we should be taking in. Parents, don't have to measure, like, okay, I need 3 ounces of chicken and how much rice should I serve. As long as our message is for half the plate to be fruits and vegetables, this portion of your plate, a little bit more than a quarter, should be grains, and half our grains should be whole grains. Try a variety of protein. And then our dairy group, which would be the milk and milk group, is about this size. And dairy does not just include milk. It can have cheese in it, can have cottage cheese, yogurt, ice cream a little bit because it's
Ooh, I
still
love
a
ice cream.
snack,
Yum, yum.
but snacks and desserts times. But this is just, and you're going to see this more and more in the store on boxes of food and food items. They're starting to do that more. And we use this for nutrition education. Again, the message is half the plate fruits and vegetables, make half your grains whole grains, try a variety of proteins.
Yeah, when you say a variety of proteins, I know most people think of, like, what Karla showed them, that piece of meat that they had.
Right.
And I know there's other proteins because obviously I don't eat meat. I eat, other things. So tell us a little bit about other proteins. Sometimes people don't remember there are others.
Proteins more than meat. It can come from animals or it can come from plants. So the plants would be nuts. Any type of nut is really good protein. And then also there's certain beans that are in this group that are high in protein. as well as eggs. Eggs is high in protein.
Well, that's a good breakfast to have. You'd have your grains and your eggs, and then you could have your fruits and vegetables really easily for breakfast. And that's a good point, because breakfast, they say, is what really
The most
important.
important meal of the
Fuels
day.
you up for the day, yeah.
Right.
And you can even do that on the go.
Right.
You're pretty easy. Those are on-the-go foods.
On-the-go foods, yeah. Grab a tortilla, stick some eggs in, and
That's right.
out the door.
Out the door.
Yeah.
Yep. Have a banana to eat. And
Yep.
Yeah.
Good.
So dairy, they're encouraging, 0.5%, switch to 0.5% or skim milk. And like you were talking about, vary our protein choices. And when I say whole grains, because some might say, well, what's a whole grain? How do I know if I'm buying whole grain? Whole grains just means that when they're making the food items, they've actually used the whole grain. It hasn't been processed. It has not been broken down. They haven't taken things out and added things in, so they're actually using the whole grain. And one of the ways to tell is if you're shopping, you might just look on the package. It might say whole grain, whole wheat, but also usually there's probably a stamp on it. And this will say 100% whole grain. This is the 100% stamp. This is the basic stamp that it does have whole grains in it. So just be on the lookout for the stamp on your food items. And make half your grains whole grain.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to learn more about that food label that she started to show us.
The odds of a child becoming a professional golfer? 1 in 140,000. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism? 1 in 150. You know the odds of autism. Now learn the signs. Go to autismspeaks.org.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Anita Neal, with UF IFAS Extension. And today we have with us Karla Lenfesty and Lynette Abney, and we're talking about family nutrition. So I know we kind of talked a little bit about the food label, so can you kind of tell us a little bit more, Karla?
Yeah, here's I'll show this little example here if you want to see, Anita. This is an example of 2 food labels. These are for cartons of milk that you find in the school. And the food label has all kinds of information for us. Remember, we talked about serving size.
Yeah.
And the serving sizes there is 1 cup. So they're both the same, 1 cup of milk. But the milk, they're different. One is a non-fat and one is a reduced fat. So like Lynette said, they're promoting that you drink either 2% reduced fat, 1%, or non-percent, which would be non-fat milk. Also on it, you can find information about how many grams of fat are in the product. So this one would have 5, this would have 0. But it also lists vitamins and nutrients that you would find in the same product. So you can find your carbohydrates, you can find the sodium, which is the amount of salt that's in there, the different types of fats. Sugar is a big one in here. Your sugars are always listed on your food labels, but unfortunately they don't list added sugars. So that's when you need to read your ingredients contents to see for those things like fructose and glucose, and your favorite one, high fructose
corn syrup.
There you go. Yeah. That's our favorite, high fructose corn syrup. If any of those are the first 3 ingredients, then you know there's quite a bit of that added.
Sugar. So the first ingredient is
the first 3 ingredients are the most. Yeah, it starts with the most ingredient contained in it.
And in this case, we probably would look at milk as having natural sugar.
Milk has natural sugar, yes, and it has not been added.
So it's important to know that.
Right, and if you get a flavored milk, there's going to be more sugar in it, but you're still getting the calcium and the benefits of milk. So we always try to encourage the kids to at least drink white milk a couple times a week, and that's a great victory when they do switch to that. So
that's good.
Also, it lists your percent of daily values on the other side. So if you're getting anything that is less than 5%, you aren't getting a lot of the nutrients and vitamins and good things out of that. But if you're getting over 20%, then you're getting a lot. So you want to stay between that 5 and 20 cent, and you know you're getting a good. But remember, 1 cup is 1 serving.
Right.
So if it might have 3 or 4 cups. A big carton, would have much more. So that kind of gives you an idea. But the children learn how to read that, and that they find that useful, and they go to the supermarket and they're reading stuff off to their moms and dads and their brothers and sisters. So that's a good.
My daughters now read labels. Yes,
it's a good skill to have.
It is a very good skill to have. Absolutely. Well, I know we talked a little bit about things that we should eat that are healthy, and we talked a little bit about milk, and of course milk is one of the things we can use to hydrate us, but I know I'm always telling everyone, especially this time of year when it's so very warm, to hydrate.
Right.
You know, and hydration is very important, and of course water's the best, they say, because it not only hydrates us, but it also cleanses our body and gets rid of those nasty things that we might have eaten.
Right.
But tell us, we talked a little bit in the opening about, sodas and, carbonated beverages, and, are they as bad as they seem, or what should we be looking for, perhaps, when we look for things to drink?
Right. Yes, summer's not over yet, and sometimes in Florida it's never over, but there's more people outside now, and they're being more active with summertime, so you really got to be careful to not become dehydrated. And so dehydration occurs when there's too many fluids lost from your body, and but sweating is the way that our body cools us off.
Right.
So we have to sweat, but losing too much water is not a good thing because we become dehydrated. So losing or sweating is the leading cause of dehydration. So, and our bodies are 87% water. So we have to replace the water that we've lost. And a lot of people, they love soda, and they want to have a soda when they're thirsty. But actually soda can actually make you more thirsty. It doesn't really quench that thirst. So water is the best thing that you should use to replace the fluid that you've lost in your body. And also there's fruits. Fruits are full of water. So that's a good thing to replace those fluids that you've lost. Watermelon, there you go. Yeah. And dehydration can occur even before you get the symptoms. So you want to make sure that you're hydrating before, after, and during your activities. Soda, like I said, is tempting, but they have in soda what we call empty calories. There's a lot of calories in here, but there's no nutritional value. There's no vitamins, there's no minerals.
So again, going back to that label, it tells you that there's not a whole lot in there.
Yeah, if you go back to the label and you look down to sugars, this is 40 grams of sugar in this particular soda. And if you want to find out how many teaspoons are in this 40 grams, you would just divide it by 4.
Okay, so 40 by 4 is 10.
10.
Okay.
So I've already kind of calculated out in this cup
That's
here.
10? Wow. Teaspoons?
10 of these.
Wow.
Teaspoons in here.
In that one can?
In one can.
Wow.
So that's a lot of sugar.
Yeah.
Like you probably wouldn't just put water in here and drink this like this straight, right? So
I mean, some people might, but
yeah. You probably wouldn't. So that's a lot of sugar in there.
Yeah.
And you still have to somehow burn off the calories that you've taken in, but you haven't had any nutritional value. So, it's energy in, energy out to keep that balance. And so this would be about 160 calories for this. And if you, for one can of soda, to work that off, you probably would have to jog about 17 minutes.
Wow.
Or 33 minutes walking. Wow. Just to burn off.
One soda.
And this is a regular soda, not diet, yeah. So you have to keep that in mind. Water's the best thing as far as even satisfying that thirst or that replacing your waters. You still have to burn off those calories somehow. You don't want to have extra calories that you're not burning off because you want to keep that balance. And we were just talking about this in one of the summer classes I did about M&Ms. One M&M would take, a plain M&M would take you a minute and a half.
To run it off.
To run it off.
For one M&M.
For one M&M.
And of course we only eat one.
That's right. So if you just had a regular size bag of M&Ms, they say there's about 48 of them in there. That would take you about, again, 1 hour and 20 minutes of jogging for one regular bag snack size of M&Ms. So when you think about it, on the soda, if you had about a soda a day, you're taking in about this much sugar.
50-pound bag a year.
Wow. 50-pound bag of sugar.
You lifted that up so effortlessly. Amazing.
I know, I've been working out lately. So that's a lot of sugar.
Yeah,
that's a lot of extra sugar to be taken in.
One soda a day.
Yeah.
One soda
if you don't work off, if you don't work it off. So maybe you're a soda drinker and you drink 2 sodas a day. Well, we just encourage you maybe substitute one of those with water.
Yeah.
And then you don't have those extra calories to work off.
So you can, that's one way to lose some weight.
That's one way to keep from gaining some weight.
Yeah. Keep from gaining or losing, That's good.
Yeah.
Well, I know, Karla, there's other things that you do, and Lynette talked a little bit about it, and I know there's a program that you do with our citrus growers as well as what you do with the kids, and that's hand washing and how important hand washing is. We wash our vegetables. We know that. We know that we want to wash our vegetables, but it's important, again, to do that. So
right.
how can we tell people why it's important and how
there's
it's the
two
best
parts.
way?
If we're talking about food safety, a critical part of food safety is eating and keeping your food safe, and a lot of that is preparation as well. You're going to be touching your food, you're going to be eating your food, that type of thing. And it's, it's called clean, separate, cook, and chill is basically so we're going to talk about the cleaning part of it. So washing your hands, our hands are covered with good germs and bad germs. All surfaces are. Anything you touch is covered with something. So especially before we're going to prepare something for ourselves or another person, we want to make sure that our hands are germ-free. So that's just washing your hands for 20 seconds with soap and water for 20 seconds, and then drying them on a clean towel, not the cloth you used to wipe down the counter.
Like, happy
birthday to you, or the ABC song,
okay.
Or whatever works. But those are all about 20 seconds. You sing them twice, because if you sing it once, we're going to run right through it really fast. So you do it twice. And now you talked about washing the fruits and vegetables too. It's really important. Of course, you want to have clean hands before you start handling your food, and you want to have clean surfaces that you're going to prepare your foods on. But you also want to wash off those fruit and vegetables under clean running water too. And that's just because, they have microbes on them as well. They've been in the store, they've been in the packing house, they've been in the field, wherever they've come from. So they've carted those things with them. And you want to wash those off, whether you're going to peel them or not, because you don't want to slice through that and pull something from that peel into the fresh fruit or the vegetable with a knife or with your hands, something like that. So that just keeps you from cross-contaminating something.
Very good.
So we don't want anybody getting sick.
No, absolutely
It's not a fun thing.
Not a fun thing.
And it's an easy thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very simple.
Well, we're almost ready to wrap up, but is there something else you guys want to share with us that our listeners can benefit from? With the knowledge that you've got, what you share with the students, is there something that we might have missed in conveying to them?
Well, I think a thing that we always try to encourage in the kids and the parents we work with is snacking at home, trying to involve.
I love snacking.
Yeah, I do too. Trying to involve the kids maybe in preparing the snacks or having a voice in the snack. Right. This time of year, it's real easy to do something. An alternative would be to, like you're talking about melons, cut them up and stick them in the freezer and have a nice little frozen snack. Let them be creative. Let them, help them by slicing up some fruit and letting them make a little caterpillar or kebab out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Making that peanut butter sandwich. If you have a hard time getting them to eat grain breads, make one side of it lighter bread and a darker bread, and then cut it into fourths and flip it over, make it look like a checkerboard. It makes it exciting. They can do things like that.
Yeah,
they love
that's a really
things.
cute idea.
So just involve them in the shopping if you can, and do it together as a family. It can be a lot of fun, and you can really make sure that you're eating healthy and eating well.
That's great. Lynette, do you have anything else you want to share?
Just for parents, or the person that shops for the food, one of the good tips is to shop the perimeter of the store, because that's where your fresh fruits and vegetables are. You have your meats, your cheeses, your eggs,
your dairy.
And then you have your dairy, like your yogurts and things. And try to avoid the middle part if you can, because there's a lot of processed food in there, and processed food can be very high in sugar or salt. So you want to try to avoid that. Buy fresh fruits and vegetables versus the canned if you can. And if you have to get canned, get it packed in natural juice, not the syrup. And
again, reading the label.
Reading the label, that's right. And portion control, you don't, your portion sizes, you don't have to say, oh, I can't eat that. Just, smaller portion sizes,
Great. Well, thank you. That's really good. Very helpful. Well, it's a good way to wrap it up and kind of summarize what we talked about. And get out there and do some good shopping and bring your kids with you and let them help you guide the way to health and nutrition. And enjoy your summer.